Hi, welcome to The Fold. I'm Emily Dakers, and I'm joined here today with Amanda Katz, who is the Executive Director of Homeless Cars. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Emily.
Amazing. For our listeners who might be hearing about Homeless Cars for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how the program works?
Absolutely. I mean, people might be hearing about Homeless Cars for the first time, but they also might be hearing about car donation in general for the first time. I feel like it's something that people are like, you do what?
Right.
When they ask me what I do. So Homeless Cars is a charitable foundation who helps relieve homelessness and food insecurity by partnering with organizations like you, but also by way of vehicle donations.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody has a car that they want to get rid of or need to get rid of for some reason, and that can be multiple situations that you're in, your car breaks down, the mileage is too high, you can't get it on the road,
Right.
somebody passes away, you're downsizing,
Right.
whatever that situation looks like, people think of, I've got to deal with the process of selling this car, posting it on Kijiji, getting
Having
it
people
picked
come to my
up,
house and
all this back and forth communication, or they can look at an alternative method, which is vehicle donation.
Right.
So Homeless Cars is one of the organizations that's out there that handles vehicle donation in a really simple way, which I'm happy to share more about. And we partner with local homelessness relief charities in every city that we operate within. And the process to pick up and donate the vehicle is really simple. It's already a tough thing that you're dealing with, so we try and make it as easy as possible with as much impact as possible.
Right. And I feel like with the market on cars right now too, it all just feels so stressful and so intense. And so if there's any way to alleviate some of that, it sounds like you folks are willing to do that to make it easier.
Absolutely. One of the key things that we really try and do is like take out all of the aggravation of getting rid of a vehicle.
Yeah.
It can be a tough process. It can also be a bit of an emotional process. There's so much that happens in the car.
Yeah.
It's like not just something that gets you from point A to B.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is. But yeah, you take a journey with your vehicle. So feeling good about the way that it goes out is something that we try and achieve as well.
Amazing. What happens when somebody chooses to donate a vehicle?
Yeah, great question. Because people are like, what
is
this whole thing all about? So people can contact us in a few ways. The process is really simple. So if you send us a chat or you pick up the phone, in 5 minutes, we essentially take down the details about your vehicle, its location, its condition, some personal details for the eventual tax receipt. And we're always happy to quote out what the vehicle might be worth because you're wondering, okay, what am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
It's always a tax receipt. But that tax receipt can look a little different based on the condition and value of the vehicle. And from that 5-minute phone call in the Hamilton area specifically, we can pick up a vehicle sometimes as early as day of.
Oh, wow.
Typically within 1 to 2 days, depending on our tow schedule, or we can organize that pickup for later.
A time that's most convenient, sort of.
Yeah, Mondays through Fridays, 9 to 5. Sometimes we can do weekends if you're strapped. We can also do contactless pickup, which started in COVID, but some people do prefer because people have busy schedules that are out there. And the tax receipt for the value of your donation will come in the month following the donation.
So really quick turnaround then.
Yeah. We try and make it, as seamless as possible, as quick and efficient as possible.
Yeah.
Because once people decide that they want to get rid of their car, they want to get rid of their car now.
Get it done. Get it out of here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What sorts of organizations do you support through this work?
I mean, obviously, Good Shepherd Hamilton.
And we're very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, we've been in operation for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
We started in Hamilton and Toronto. We've expanded to Winnipeg and Alberta.
Wow.
So we support local homelessness and food insecurity relief organizations in each of those cities, sometimes towns that we operate within, because our biggest goal is to create not just impact throughout Canada, but create local impact.
So if I donate my car here in Hamilton, it's going to go towards an organization here in Hamilton.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to take that even a step further, if you donate a vehicle in Hamilton that you heard about, if you heard about Homeless Cars through Good Shepherd Hamilton, then the funds not only go to Hamilton, they go to support Good Shepherd. So
Okay.
we always really try and like foster these positive relationships with, especially our longer term partners like Good Shepherd. But we want to reward and, pay homage to the charities that are doing this work on the ground, which, as we know, we look outside. We live in these cities. It's really important work to be done always.
Yeah.
But 2026 is, some stuff's grim.
Yeah. The world is tough.
Yeah.
So if there's ways that we can try to alleviate that, and I think in a creative way as well, then that's a great thing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's another thing that we kind of talk about is right now in today's like economic realities, it can be tough to open up your wallet and give to a charity, even if they're one that you really want to give to. So vehicle donation and in-kind donations in general, some organizations accept furniture or goods or whatever those things are. This is alleviating a stress of, that car that doesn't work anymore that's been sitting around. And you're able to, by giving away your car, translate that into a monetary contribution to these charities. And that's something that's like pretty cool and different.
Yeah, very. Can you talk a little bit about how homeless cars sort of came to be?
Absolutely. So I've been here for about 4 years. I took it over from somebody who started it. But the inception of homeless cars was the realization that, one, a lot of people have cars to get rid of.
Yeah. And especially during COVID when people weren't commuting as much and they had these vehicles that maybe were underutilized, overexpensive, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. And there were kind of two things that were the core components of Georgina, who started the charity, starting it. She had in the past dealt with the vehicle from her father who passed away. And she felt like the process of getting rid of this car was so challenging. Also, the internet wasn't in the exact same place that it is in now. But she just eventually ended up driving the car to a scrapper's lot and said, I don't even want any money. Just like get rid of this car. It was that aggravating. Yeah. And she was like, there must be a better way to do this. Right. So that was the first part was this thing is so challenging. Let's make it easier.
And this can't be a unique experience. Like other people must be going through this as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the second thing that she was seeing once she looked into it further was that there are a couple organizations that are out there that are doing the car donation thing. One of those organizations that's the largest, they've got a really fun jingle that may be stuck in, one's head. We don't need to call them out, but they take quite a high volume of vehicles, which is great. But the money that they're generating from the vehicles, if you look into the fine print, and they will be upfront about it, if you ask, it's all going down to the U.S. So not only were the funds not staying in Canada, this organization also started in COVID when homelessness was becoming such a greater thing to deal with for a number of reasons. That hasn't entirely gone away, but she was like, why don't we have more systems that are here, but why don't we create something that not only drives Canadian impact, but local impact in our own backyard where we know it's so necessary to create.
Yeah. And like you said, organizations that you may already know and trust and want to support, but don't have the means to in other ways. So I think that's really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what does it mean to see something like an old car, something that's maybe seen as a burden, turn into real help for somebody?
I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. Like sometimes I'm spending time on the phone saying, Homeless Cars, Amanda speaking, because it's really important for me, even as executive director, to understand what that donor process looks like. And people are really grateful for the way that we make this process easier on them. Because, as I said, it can be emotional in a number of ways. It can be, the spot where you've driven your kids to school and you've taken your family on road trips.
People name their cars, they decorate them, they make it, it's a big deal.
Absolutely. People whose vehicles like we pick up, they're like, I would never do contactless. I want to be there to send it off.
I need to wave goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a goodbye party. It's like a real sad goodbye. Yeah. It can also be a really emotional process because they're not always donating their own vehicles. Sometimes they're the executor of the estate.
Yeah.
It's a family passing. Sometimes we're a call on the day of because people just want to handle as much as possible, as quickly as possible. So yeah, it can be a challenging goodbye, but it can also be such a great thing to witness. And people are elated on the phone about how truly simple this process is. You know, not to toot our horns too much, but we get some pretty good reviews. I forget if we're at 4.9 or 5 stars because people are just like, this is so simple.
Yeah.
And for us, I mean, creating the impact is one thing, but a positive donor experience is something we try and achieve, obviously, every time. And we have a lot of heart that goes into it. Like we started because our executive director, Georgina at the time, she was finding this process so challenging. So every day we're trying to figure out how do we make it easier and easier and more positive of an experience.
To work for real people who are trying to do real things, right? It's not hypothetical. It's you're on the ground trying to make sure that it makes sense for the most people.
Yeah. And we hear a lot of stories from donors.
Are there any sort of myths or common misconceptions about the process or donating a vehicle?
Good one, because plenty.
Yeah.
I think people associate getting rid of their cars via vehicle donation with my car's got to be in terrible condition.
Right.
Because they imagine that we're picking up the car and it's going exclusively to the crusher and we're scrapping it. But that's not the case. It can be the case. We do pick up a lot of vehicles in pretty terrible condition. But we also can appraise the vehicle of any kind. So sometimes that vehicle is going for scrap, sometimes it's going for parts, and sometimes it's going entirely for resale.
Wow.
And we will take a look at the vehicle. We don't need to go to the site or your garage to take a look at it. We work with recycling partners that have been in the business for generations, and they know the worth of a car. And we work with CRA, and we're also in an effort to be as honest, transparent, and advantageous for the donor as possible. We want it to be a win-win at like every part of the process. So if somebody gives us a call, and we've had some interesting calls and interesting cars come in, and they want to know what their car is worth, we'll always appraise that. So I think debunking this mindset of if I'm getting rid of my car, it's got to be something that's been sitting in the garage for many years. That's something we're really trying to get away from. Because often people are like, oh, you do that? My car's too nice to donate. Yeah. There's no such thing as too nice to donate.
Why would I send my car to the crusher when actually there's all of these other paths that it could take to still have a positive outcome?
Yeah, a positive outcome, a tax advantage with a lot of people with those higher value vehicles. That's something that they're actually looking for. They just don't know that this alternative exists.
Right.
So,
is there a donation story or a moment that's really sort of stuck with you over the last few years?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we get plenty of stories, and that can be, sometimes being there in somebody's moment of need, but it can also look like a lot of different things. As we mentioned, I mean, in partnering with organizations like Good Shepherd that do so much work on the ground, we partner with those sorts of organizations in other cities. And I remember personally picking up a call, and somebody found out about us through one of our exclusive Winnipeg partner.
Partner's good though.
Cool. Yeah. Let's put that into motto somewhere. And they found us through Silo Mission, and they were so excited to see that an organization like us existed where this woman could create impact, because Silo Mission is actually an organization that her son, who lives on and off of the streets, uses.
Right.
So we've had that story. We've had people come in and say, I used to be homeless. I have a car. It's amazing that I can now, as somebody who came off of the streets, do something that can create tangible impact for organizations that have helped me through my journey. So yeah, I'm sure you guys, have individuals that come in or individuals that support Good Shepherd because of the personal influence it's had on their life or a
Yeah.
family member's life. And we see that stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure your I'm going to call them dispatchers. The folks who answer the calls are often working through really emotional phone calls, right? It's not probably the same as a lot of other services that get, requests or calls or things like that. It can be very personal.
Yeah, it can be personal. It can be emotional. Every once in a while it's just, okay, and what's the VIN number? But oftentimes it has a lot more meaning for a number of reasons. Than just taking down the details and picking it up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Do you have a story of maybe the most unusual vehicle that's been donated or unusual situation?
I think this is a good come back to that perception that people have about, or callback, I guess, about the types of vehicles that come in, because we've gotten, a couple nice Porsches that come in, like a 911, pretty cool sports car. But we've also had, I think it was in the first year, I think at the beginning of when I joined, we got a 1928 Ford Model A. It's like a real collector's item and in beautiful condition.
Yeah.
And the tax receipt did
reflect that,
of course. But it was like a car that I've never seen. It's something from old movies and stuff. So that was definitely our most interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Car.
Yeah.
And we'd take more of them. You got one? Let us know.
Yeah, right. What's sitting in your garage collecting dust that could be really fun for homeless cars to help out with?
Yeah, truly.
A Model A. That's awesome. And then the volume of the impact from that obviously is reflective of the car that's been donated as well. So that's a really neat thing to know that this antique that you've been holding on to now can have such an impact on real people in your own area. That's really neat. If someone is listening and has an old vehicle that they're not using, what should they do?
Well, homelesscars.ca is the best spot to get any information, of course, that we didn't provide here. We've got a chat. It's real people on the other side. It's not bots. I see them come in.
Excellent.
I'm answering them every once in a while. We're nimble. But that's one way. Picking up the phone for sure. 1-833-465-7227. That's our number. Again, real people on the other side, always answering the calls. We'll take down the information about the vehicle. And it can just be questions. We have an extensive FAQ page. We don't expect everybody to dive in. Right. We're all lazy. We just want to give a call and have our questions answered. And we're always happy to do that. And
sort of a hypothetical would be fine.
Yeah. And appraise the vehicle beforehand. Transparency is key in everything that we do. And we don't want anybody to feel like they don't have their questions answered before we arrange that pickup. And in terms of documentation in prep, it's pretty simple. All you need is the ownership of your vehicle. That needs to be tied to your name. You need to sign the signature of seller line. We handle everything else with the Ministry of Transportation. Wow. It differs a little bit province to province, but it's simple in every province. And we've got the all the details arranged.
You've got the process sort of down pat now. Yeah.
It's as easy as possible for you. And not too complicated for us either, but we do everything in a really kosher way.
So somebody can pick up the phone anytime, ask a couple questions, and then go from there.
Yeah, phone lines are always open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to get us, but we'll give you a call back at any hour of the night if we see it come in, and the chat's going all the time as well. So
great. So thank you so much for coming. Homeless Cars sounds like an excellent organization. And thank you for the support that it provides to Good Shepherd and the real people that we serve every day here. It's been really a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you for being on The Fold.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.